Under the Bodhi tree, its shade cool against the afternoon sun, Buddha gathered disciples to share wisdom about suffering. He spoke, his voice calm, resonating like the gentle flow of water through untouched woods. Suffering binds humanity together. Disciples surrounded him, their gazes steady, holding both anticipation and inquiry. Ananda broke silence. Master, is suffering our unavoidable burden? Buddha replied softly, suffering is neither curse nor punishment but profound teacher revealing truths hidden within the veils of existence. The murmuring leaves seemed to echo his words, amplifying their depth. His disciples leaned closer, listening with hearts and minds open. He continued, life's waves, whether gentle or ferocious, must be navigated. Understanding these waves steadies our vessel in the storm. Ananda ventured another question. Master, can one truly find peace amidst constant waves of life's sorrows and uncertainties? The group awaited his response. Buddha paused briefly, eyes closed, as if communing with truths beyond perception. He began sharing the story of the farmer. This farmer poured love into fields that symbolized his survival. One day, floods swept away the fruits of his labor. Grief consumed him. His home felt empty, haunted by memories of life's creation, now submerged under relentless waters. He sought refuge deep within mountains. Longing for peace, he imagined waiting in the serenity of their towering silence. Mountain winds whispered haunting melodies reminding him that shadows of grief travel alongside humanity's footsteps wherever we choose to roam. He returned home, not as defeated wanderer, but as renewed seeker, realizing peace resides not outside us but within. Disciples exchanged glances, their eyes revealing newly planted seeds of understanding. Buddha's tale settled in their minds like morning dew. Ananda's expression softened, transformed by Buddha's teachings. Buddha continued, nurturing seeds of awareness. His words unfurled gently, like lotus petals. Suffering, when held too tightly, blinds us. When understood and embraced, suffering becomes our teacher guiding paths toward truth and peace. Fear grips the heart seeking escape. It convinces us of life's cruelty without allowing wisdom to rise through understanding. Light does not fight darkness but reveals its presence. Similarly, peace reveals suffering's lessons without opposing its existence. Ananda whispered softly, Master, are these lessons our destined companions throughout life's unfolding chapters? Buddha held his disciples' gaze firmly. They are not burdens but illuminations guiding beings through cycles of rebirth toward ultimate liberation, completeness, and interconnected awareness. His disciples sat silent, absorbing wisdom as earth absorbs falling rain. Buddha's presence was like sunrise melting mist away. There are seasons of suffering, flourishing, rest, and growth. Each season teaches resilience, compassion, clarity, and equanimity within turbulent storms. Resistance against seasons erodes us. Acceptance allows navigation through life's changes without becoming swept away by impermanence. Buddha's calm reached deep spaces within their hearts. His teachings, not mere words, unfolded into lanterns illuminating unseen pathways. Nature, wind, and silence tell stories. Waves of sorrow are neither walls nor barriers, but invitations to grow deeper roots. Roots grounded deeply withstand gusts uprooting shallow attachments. To see clearly without clinging is liberation from suffering's grip. Evening approached. The disciples pondered questions arising from wisdom Buddha entrusted them. Questions returned to wisdom, cycling infinitely like life itself. Among them, Ananda asked his last question. Master, is humanity courageous enough to face suffering without retreating into despair's shadow? Buddha closed his eyes again, inhaling deeply. Courage grows from humility, accepting life as transient moments shared with infinite universal existence. To retreat is natural temptation. To face suffering with wisdom creates transformative capacity beyond limitations imposed by fleeting fears. Suffering births wisdom when embraced without bitterness or attachment. It reveals transcendence within human fragility, bridging mortal and eternal. Night arrived softly like answer to prayer. The Bodhi tree seemed alive, embracing disciples within its sheltering branches. Buddha concluded, his voice carrying both tenderness and strength. Path home is built through understanding suffering, not running from its depth. We carry them, believing they are precious, but they weigh us down. I asked, how do we let go of what feels so deeply ingrained? By seeing clearly, Buddha answered, and by understanding that the weight you carry is not who you are. Path unfolded homeward. Another day. Under the vast expanse of the open sky, Buddha and his disciples sat in quiet contemplation and learning. A woman approached, grief etched deep into her face. Carrying a still child. Master, she pleaded, restore life to my son. The disciples exchanged glances, their hearts heavy with shared sorrow. Buddha, his gaze compassionate, addressed the grieving woman softly. I will help if you bring a mustard seed from a home untouched by grief, Buddha said with calm certainty. The woman, hope ignited in her despair, departed immediately to search for the mustard seed that could restore her child. She knocked on doors, her story trembling in her voice. In every house, sorrow had found residence and left marks. At one house, a widow spoke of her husband lost to war. At another, a mother wept for lost children. Each home she visited revealed tales of sorrow, woven into lives shaped by the common thread of human existence. She realized every heart bore its wounds, hidden or visible, and every soul carried burdens shaped by life's impermanence. The woman returned to Buddha, empty-handed, but her tears had changed. They no longer carried despair, but the weight of understanding. I found no home free from sorrow, she said softly, kneeling before Buddha, but I understand now. Suffering unites us all. Buddha's eyes reflected her revelation. Compassion grows when we see our suffering reflected in others, binding us through shared experience. He turned to his disciples and continued, suffering isolates us only when we build walls instead of opening hearts to others. Compassion is not pity, Buddha explained, his voice steady. It is the deep recognition that others' pain is our own. Through this recognition, he said, we transcend isolation and embrace the interconnectedness of all beings, fostering wisdom and love. A disciple, moved by the lesson, asked, Master, how do we cultivate compassion amidst the heaviness of our own burdens? Buddha gestured toward the woman who had sat silently, listening. Her journey offers wisdom beyond words. Her quest transformed her. The woman nodded. In seeking solace, I found not just my pain but the vast ocean of shared human suffering, Buddha added. In discovering others' pain, we dissolve the barriers that separate us. And compassion rises like the morning sun. Compassion is not simply feeling. It is active, a practice of understanding, a bridge spanning divides created by ignorance and fear. The disciples sat quietly, the woman's story and Buddha's teachings weaving their understanding of compassion into something new and profound. Suffering met with resistance festers. Becoming a wound, Buddha said, met with compassion, it transforms into a profound source of wisdom. The woman bowed deeply. Her grief no longer a shackle but a source of insight and connection to the human condition. The sun began to set, painting the skies in hues of orange and gold, casting an ethereal glow over the gathering. A disciple spoke again. Master, does this path of compassion also bring us closer to liberation from life's cycles of sorrow? Buddha replied, compassion, like wisdom, frees us from the binds of ego. Through it, we discover freedom amidst life's impermanence. Life will always bring loss, he continued. But to live with compassion is to transform loss into the flowering of understanding, as a lotus blooms in muddy waters. So does compassion bloom in suffering's fertile ground, Buddha said, his tone unwavering. The woman, touched deeply, asked, Master, how do we keep compassion alive in our hearts when pain threatens to engulf us? Compassion is sustained not by denying pain, Buddha explained, but by embracing it as a doorway to connection with others. To nurture compassion, he said, we meditate on the suffering of all beings, including our own, cultivating empathy without attachment. The disciples bowed their heads, their silent reflection interwoven with Buddha's gentle words, now etched into their hearts and spirits. Buddha stood and placed his hands together, his gesture one of unity and love. Compassion heals, connects, and reveals life's truth. As the gathering dispersed, the disciples understood that compassion was not an escape from suffering but a path illuminated by it. In this lesson, Buddha taught not only how to face sorrow but how to transcend it by embracing the world's shared soul. The woman, though she had lost her child, left with a lighter heart, carrying the seed of compassion Buddha had planted. The disciples, too, carried the echoes of that day, letting Buddha's words guide their lives in the endless journey of compassion. Another day, under the dappled light of the forest, Buddha sat with his disciples, their expressions reflecting longing and uncertainty. A young monk, burdened by self-doubt, approached Buddha. Master, I strive yet stumble. I fear my unworthiness and failure will never leave me. Buddha's gaze softened, his voice steady as the earth beneath them. Failure is not a barrier. It is a lesson. The monk's hands trembled as he asked, But Master, how do I walk this path when my spirit feels weighed down by imperfection? Buddha smiled gently. Perfection is not the goal. Let me share the story of my own struggles and understanding. The disciples leaned closer, their attention captured as Buddha began recalling his past, a journey marked by both hardship and enlightenment. Before awakening, I believed the path required great suffering. I denied my body sustenance, seeking liberation through extreme discipline. My body weakened, my mind clouded. I realized a truth: the path is neither indulgence nor extreme austerity, but the middle way. The monk nodded, his breathing steadying as Buddha continued to speak with the rhythm of a river gently flowing downstream. Imagine a musician tuning his instrument. Strings stretched too tight break too loose. They cannot produce harmony. Balance brings clarity. Just as the strings find balance, we too must discover harmony between effort and acceptance in our journey toward wisdom. The young monk, touched by Buddha's words, asked softly, Master, how do we recognize this balance when our vision is clouded? Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as though gazing inward. Balance is found through mindfulness, observing the self without judgment or attachment. Mindfulness reveals the cycles of the mind, the tides of our emotions, and the roots of our suffering and joy. Failure, like success, is impermanent. It is not the end, but a bend in the path leading us closer to truth. The monk's expression softened, the burden on his heart lifting as the light of understanding began to illuminate his thoughts. Master, he said, is not returning to oneself a retreat? Should we not transcend the self to find liberation? Buddha's smile deepened. To return to oneself is not retreat. It is a homecoming to the essence untouched by transient turmoil. Our true nature is neither created nor destroyed. It is discovered through understanding, not by abandoning our humanity but embracing it. Buddha gestured toward a tree nearby, its trunk strong, its branches reaching upward, its roots firmly anchored deep into the earth. Like this tree, our roots must ground us in understanding, while our branches reach toward wisdom and the endless sky. The disciples contemplated this, their breaths synchronized, as if absorbing the truth like sunlight nourishing the leaves of their spirits. Master, another disciple asked, what if, in seeking the path, we lose ourselves? How do we know we are not astray? Buddha replied calmly, the path is not outside you. It is within. Straying is impossible when each step carries mindful presence, even when the path feels lost. It is simply hidden beneath layers of fear, doubt, and illusion that veil our sight. The monk who had first spoken bowed deeply. Master, your words touch my heart, but fear still lingers. How do I proceed? Fear dissolves not through resistance, but by walking forward despite its presence. Guided by wisdom and the light within, Buddha said, the path is not a destination to be reached, but a journey continuously unfolding, revealing insights with each step taken. Night began to fall. The forest bathed in shades of twilight. The glow of the gathering reflected the deepened understanding among them. Buddha's voice carried through the stillness. The self is not something to escape. It is the mirror reflecting both suffering and liberation. Through understanding, we discover the self not as a fixed entity, but as a river, ever-changing, flowing toward infinite possibilities. Every stumble is an opportunity to rise. Every doubt is a chance to question and grow closer to the truth. The young monk's hands steadied. His bowed head conveyed gratitude as Buddha's teachings wrapped around him like the forest's gentle embrace. Buddha stood, the folds of his robe flowing like rippling water. Let us walk together, each of us returning to our essence. The disciples rose, their hearts lighter, their minds clearer, carrying the seeds of understanding that Buddha had planted with patient care. As the night fully claimed the sky, the wisdom shared beneath the forest canopy remained a radiant light within their spirits. Through this teaching, Buddha reminded his disciples that the path is not a flight from imperfection but a return to wholeness. Together, they reached their destination, strengthened by mutual compassion. I listened intently, the story illuminating a path within my own mind. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.